CBC Morning Report for today, Thursday, April 27th. I'm Tisha Hines. Good morning. In our top story at this time, the spread of bird flu is being increased with the illegal trafficking of various bird species and other endangered animals which may have been affected. These animals fetch a high price on the black market. So the message to educate about the risk of infection may be ignored for financial gain. Joining us a little later in the show, hopefully, we're going to try to find out more about the avian influenza with Dr. Kirk Douglas, who is Director of the Center for Biosecurity. Meanwhile, coming up on the CBC Morning Report, China proposes to mediate a political settlement to the war in Ukraine. That's next.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get mctv, because mctv gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist,
Tens of thousands of people fleeing violence in Sudan are spilling into Chad, with aid agencies warning that larger flows of refugees are expected to arrive. The United Nations is reporting that since fierce fighting broke out in Sudan in April, just around April 15th, an estimated 20,000 people have entered Chad and at least 100,000 are set to arrive. This brings concerns about the stability in an already fragile region.
The humanitarian situation in Sudan has been deteriorating rapidly since violence broke out 12 days ago. People say they are running out of food, water and medicine.
We are really suffering. Grain mills are closed and we cannot grind our stock of wheat. Most basic commodities are absent, and if they are available, the prices are very high.
Living conditions are very dire for everyone. Prices have soared and means of transportation are almost gone. People are really suffering.
It's not only Sudanese. These Rohingya refugees fled persecution in Myanmar. They now find themselves in the middle of another conflict.
We need the safe zone because here situation is very bad, very heavy fighting with two groups. So we need the rescue anywhere, need a safe zone.
Some people have managed to escape. A boat carrying 1,600 citizens of 50 countries has docked in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. And the United Nations says at least 20,000 people have arrived in Chad. At the weekend, inmates escaped the Khobar prison in the capital. A high-profile detainee who served in former President Omar al-Bashir's government announced he had left the prison. Ahmed Haroun is wanted by the International Criminal Court on charges of crimes against humanity in Darfur. The army says Bashir is being held in a military hospital. Despite this, the army says it's in control.
It is the pride of the Sudanese army that we had not touched a single facility or any infrastructure. It is the rapid support forces that destroyed them. This war will come to an end very soon, and you will listen to the final statement. All of the main facilities are operational and in order, including the electricity and water supplies.
But the Rapid Support Forces posted a video on social media saying it had taken over a major oil refinery and power plant about 70 kilometers from the capital, Khartoum.
We are in full control of the refinery. We believe in action, not empty words. This is not the time for their nonsense. We control the majority of the country, north, south, east and west. We have 200% control over Sudan.
The United Nations says there is no sign the warring parties are ready to negotiate, and has warned of further suffering as long as the fighting continues.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has spoken to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for the first time since Russia invaded Ukraine, and Beijing says it wants to send an envoy to Kyiv to serve as a mediator to pursue a political settlement.
Volodymyr Zelensky described his conversation with Xi Jinping as long and meaningful. Xi also met Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow last month. Beijing says it's maintaining neutrality in the conflict. Charles Stratford has more from the Ukrainian capital.
There's no denying that this telephone conversation between President Zelensky and President Xi is not highly significant, the first conversation that they've had. But we are still a long way off, certainly in Ukraine and amongst many of Ukraine's Western backers, of China being seen as an honest, neutral arbiter in potentially trying to bring a lasting peace to this crisis. Interestingly, we've had already comment from Zelensky on his Telegram channel. He said that there was no peace would be found at the expense of territorial compromise. He said no one wants peace more than the Ukrainian people. We are on our land and we are fighting for our future. And interestingly, he said that during this conversation, particular attention had been paid to ways of possible interaction with the aim of establishing a just and stable peace. Now, of course, China has put together a 12-point so-called peace plan that was made public in February, and Zelensky was very quick to denounce that, not calling it a plan in any way towards peace. It's all to do with territory still for the Ukrainians. Zelensky repeatedly says that until Russia withdraws from all the occupied lands, including Crimea, he's not prepared to sit down at least with the Russians and talk about a lasting solution. So as I say, this is significant, this conversation that's been had, but there is still a lot of work to be done. It's going to be interesting to see how the European community and the White House, how the US really fleshes over this conversation and the way that they interpret it in trying to form some sort of solution to at least get potentially President Zelensky and President Putin one day sitting at the same table.
Now, earlier we told you that the spread of the bird flu is increased with the illegal trafficking of various bird species and other endangered animals, which may have been affected. And we told you that these animals fetch a high price on the black market. So the message to educate about the risk of infection may be ignored for financial gain. Joining us live now to discuss this and update on the state of avian influenza is Dr. Kirk Douglas, Director of the Center for Biosecurity, who recently returned from a conference in Mexico about bird flu. Good morning to you, Dr. Douglas.
Good morning, Barbados. Good morning to you, Tisha.
All right, enlighten us about some of the areas the conference addressed and was able to get resolved.
So the conference, which was the global framework for the progressive control of transboundary animal diseases, or for short, GF-TADS, this was looking at avian influenza within the Americas, as a lot of people would have seen on television and maybe even in the news media. The spread of bird flu has really taken over basically in the entire globe. In the Caribbean, I think we had one island, which was Cuba, that actually recorded H5N1, but this was in a zoo and not in poultry. So far, the Caribbean has been spared, but it seems as though the spread has been increasing in North America, in Central America and also now in South America as well. So it seems as though we're being encircled by it. So the current thought is that it's only a matter of time before we start to see more cases pop up in the Caribbean. So the intent of the meeting was to try to discuss the way forward, how we can prevent or reduce or mitigate against the risk of the entry and spread of avian influenza across the Americas. Because even though the zoonosis is actually present in the Americas, both South, Central, and North, sorry. The problem is that when you do eradicate it, then it keeps resurging. And so there was discussion around whether we should vaccinate poultry. There's some countries in South America that have started, and one is on the cusp of starting their vaccination program, because the situation of Stample, so many poultry, millions and millions of poultry, it lends to the issue of animal welfare, and if it makes sense from an economic standpoint to continue to populate poultry farms where you're going to have these high level of mortality. So different or an additional strategy of vaccination is being considered. But this comes to with trade ramifications, because before, previously, if you did vaccinate your poultry, then this would limit your trade in terms of your poultry, so you wouldn't be able to export your poultry. You can consume it locally, but a lot of countries were very apprehensive about receiving birds that were vaccinated. So the WOAH, the World Organization for Animal Health, which was one of the key sponsors, along with the Food and Agricultural Association of the United Nations, or FAO, why they hosted this workshop was to try to discuss the way forward and how all the American countries, South, Central, and North, and including the Caribbean, how they could look to strategize as to go forward. But the WOAH already have within their mandate and also regulations that permit the trade of poultry that have been vaccinated. But the challenge is now whether or not countries will be able or will be willing to receive the poultry that has been vaccinated. So that is where a lot of the conversation surrounded. And then also in terms of surveillance, because if you do vaccinate, then you have to increase the surveillance of your poultry. And also, we also discussed ways and strategies of how to conduct wild bird surveillance as well, because that is seen as a major threat to avian influenza entry into a country, and also in terms of spread. But there's, other ways and mechanisms or pathways for this particular disease to make it in. And as you would have mentioned before, illegal wildlife trade, that is not as prevalent throughout the Caribbean. There are certain countries that do pose a significant risk. One of those is Trinidad and Tobago, and that's due to the proximity to Venezuela and also the socioeconomic conditions that are present in Venezuela. So you have a situation where people are very eager to leave Venezuela and then enter Trinidad and Tobago. And in addition to the migration of people, you also have the very vibrant wildlife trade, and this is both legal and the illegal forms. And as you know, with the pet trade, a lot of people, they like really pretty birds. And this is a ready source from Venezuela coming into Trinidad and Tobago. And Venezuela has recorded H5N1 in the country. So that is where the risk is heightened for Trinidad and Tobago. So that is, in a nutshell, what we've discussed at the GF TAGS workshop, and also where the discussions led to.
You also mentioned that there are a number of ways that you can have the H1N1 or the influenza virus with the birds coming into the country. Is there a plan in place to try to deal with, outside of the poultry and the vaccinations, maybe the waterfowl, the other migratory birds, and paying attention to those ones that could also contribute to the problem?
Well, we can't stop the migration of birds. Birds are free moving, and they're transboundary in their movement, and yes, they do pose a risk. Now, within the USA and a lot of the other countries and regions across the globe, what the national surveillance programs have done, they have actually linked with persons who are birders, those who are wildlife hunters, because you need to have a framework in which is sustainable, and therefore these persons are already engaged in this activity. What they've been doing is sensitizing them, but also utilizing these mechanisms to be able to sample and test and conduct surveillance in these wildlife birds. So this is something that I think within the Caribbean will be adopted over time, and so this is something that we would certainly advocate very strongly for too as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Douglas, Director of the Center for Biosecurity.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
And you. All right, it's time for us to preview what's coming up on Morning Barbados. On today's edition, you can look forward to seeing the contestants who've moved forward to the next level of the Beige to the World Season 3 competition. They will be here sharing with us, a few of them. Also, the CHTA Marketplace. What is it about? CEO of the BHTA, Ryan Ford, will be on. And we will also be speaking with Rondell Trim, research consultant with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment, about a national youth survey. We'll tell you why you need to learn more about that. Plus, as we experience some interesting weather, we have the St. Lucie DEO, who will be having a community wellness hike coming up. And we're going to tell you about that, as well as sharing more on the Mother's Day promotion here on Morning Barbados. More news, sports, and weather is coming up. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, mctv has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on mctv. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call mctv today at 228-6288 to upgrade, or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let mctv get you back in the game.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering.
Has officially recovered from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Central Bank Governor Dr. Kevin Greenidge made the announcement at a first quarter economic review session, his first as governor. According to Dr. Greenidge, the rebound has been led mainly by the resurgent tourism sector, as the island's economy grew by 6.4% for the first quarter of this year. He indicated the figure forms part of 8 consecutive quarters of economic growth.
Indeed, if we were to look at the quarterly numbers in terms of the level of economic output, both real and nominal, you will see that for March 2023, and we compare here 2023 with 2029, which is the year before COVID really began, in terms of real GDP, real economic output, which is the value, not just the volume of goods and services produced, we are virtually on par. If you consider the inflationary effects and price effects and look at the value of those goods and services produced, we're at 3.3 billion for the quarter versus 2.7 billion for the first quarter of 2019. So indeed, the growth has strengthened, the economy has recovered.
Dr. Greenwich adds that the sustained growth in the economy has positively impacted the labor market. He says unemployment has plummeted from the 17% experienced at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic down to 7%.
That 7.2 unemployment rate is the lowest we've had in history on record. Well, the lowest back to 2007, third quarter. That is a significant recovery in unemployment, which indicates that the labor market is quite buoyant at the moment. Indeed, if you look at another indicator, which is how long it takes a person to find a job. At the height of the COVID period, it took most of persons took between 3 months and a year. If I look at the number, over 8,000 people would take almost a year to find a job, and even some took more than a year. If you compare it to where we are now, most jobs are found within less than 3 months.
Barbados remains under a water prohibition notice despite recent heavy rainfall in some areas. Officials of the Barbados Water Authority explained why during a media briefing and site visit at the Bowmanston pumping station yesterday. CBC's Sharika Griffith was there.
In recent days, some parts of Barbados have been underwater due to heavy rain. This may have created some confusion, coming the same week as the introduction of a water prohibition as a result of current drought conditions. But as Manager of Water Resources and Environmental Management with the Barbados Water Authority, Alex Eiffel explains, the main source of water on the island takes on average 3 months to reach the aquifers.
Rain falling now will take a protracted time on average to reach the wells that we can use it. So therefore, this rain that you see in the past few days, although it will impact places like Bowmanston immediately, or the West Coast wells and wells like the Bell, that will take a few months to get to the Bell.
According to Mr. Eiffel, what Barbados is currently experiencing is an agricultural drought, where the amount of rain falling over a period is not enough to support a specific crop. By introducing the water prohibition, officials are hoping to avoid getting to the stage of a hydrological drought or one which impacts water resources. Signs of this include falling water levels, increasing salinity, and ponds drying up. However, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's weather forecast for the coming months suggests a significant probability this could occur.
They are predicting April, May, June, 30% chance of El Nino. May, June, July, a 62% chance of El Nino. El Nino is usually associated with low rainfall, high temperatures, and relatively increased wind speeds. All these factors reduce the amount of available rainfall. So to make sure that we are being cautious, we use those parameters in connection with our monitoring to make sure that the public get the message. There's a high likelihood that we might go into hydrogeological drought that will impact the water resources and have socio-economic impact.
BWA teams have stepped up their monitoring from monthly to weekly as they keep a close eye on the situation. Members of the media had a chance to venture close to 300 feet below the surface into one of the wells at Bowmanston to get a first-hand look at the water level. Officials say while the country has not reached the stage of routine shutoffs, it's important to conserve water now to ensure we can make it through the dry periods ahead. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Seems quite exciting. As we look globally now, 3 out of 5 nurses and 1 in 5 doctors have left their jobs since the COVID pandemic started. Bermuda, like other countries, is struggling to attract more healthcare workers to the industry. The Bermuda Nurses Association will host a charity golf tournament on May 21st to help inspire young people to study the profession. We have a report.
Nurses Irina Ashton and Gaynell Hayward-Caesar say the tournament is an opportunity to provide scholarships for young Bermudians interested in pursuing the diverse and rewarding career. Part proceeds will go to the Hayward Community Orphans Program in Kenya to help children who have lost their parents to HIV/AIDS. Mrs. Ashton says the aim is to give young people interested in nursing a head start.
We want to support, young people who are interested in that profession and who, are limited in cost and definitely are interested in signing up and taking on that journey of nursing, which, we think is great, and we want to support our youth.
According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, nearly 44,000 nursing jobs will open up each year in the U.S. over the next 2 years. However, in 2021, over 300,000 healthcare workers worldwide left their professions, citing burnout and heavy patient loads. Mrs. Hayward-Caesar says the goal of the BNA is to swell the local ranks.
Nurses are needed all over the world. We've had so many nurses leave the profession after COVID, so we want to support their education and get as many nurses as we can, particularly in Bermuda. Bermudian nurses are needed.
Mrs. Hayward-Caesar found the Hayward Community Orphanage with Tabitha Osenai in 1999 in memory of her late husband, John Hayward. A well-respected and well-liked firefighter, Mr. Hayward tragically died from a heart attack at age just 42. Tabitha met John when his wife, Gaynell, was studying nursing with her in Jamaica, and she named the orphanage in his memory. Fundraising for the program has been challenging in today's post-COVID economy.
Meanwhile, as Jamaica's government seeks to increase the mandatory minimum sentence for murder to 45 years, there are concerns that this alone will not reduce the nation's crime rate. Chief Justice Brian Sykes says more focus needs to be placed on improving the efficiency of the entire judicial system. We have a report from CVM Television.
Harsh penalties have no real impact on crime.
It never has. What is important is that the whole process is effective and efficient.
But Chief Justice Brian Sykes says what can impact crime is a seamless judicial system, from the moment of an arrest through to trial and appeal. Noting that criminal cases are typically addressed promptly, the Chief Justice admits that as the trial progresses, there are delays that hamper efficiency.
And so what the data is telling us is that third-party actors are now responsible for significant delays. For example, defense counsel absent, disclosure to be made by the prosecution, various certificates to be provided.
The expected wait time between arrest and trial is 2 years. And as long as this holds true, Chief Justice Sykes says the speed of a completed trial is likely to have the desired impact on crime deterrence.
If I am a criminal, for example, and I realize that these things are taking years to come on for trial, why is that a deterrent? It doesn't matter what the penalty is. The question is, will I be tried? Or will I be tried in an appropriate time period? That is really the question.
Meanwhile, Chief Justice Sykes raises concern for the millions of dollars that are returned from the Ministry of Justice to the Ministry of Finance yearly.
So the question is, why is that happening when the courts are in the state that they are in? That's an important question to us. So from my standpoint, the question is not so much a shortage of resources, because if you're returning millions, it means that the resources were allocated and we're not using it. So why are we not using it?
We turn our attention now to sports. Zachary McCoskey and Brandon King both fell just a few runs short of centuries. That as Team Weeks closed on 365 for 7 on day 1 of the second match in the Headley Weeks Tri-Series against West Indies Academy in Antigua last evening. Playing at the Coolidge Cricket Ground, McCaskey scored a good knock of 93 and King struck 92 after Team Weeks were sent in to bat. Tajdurrahman Shandapal was the first to go for 25, followed by Casey Carty for 12, Alec Athanzi for a duck, McCaskey for 93, that included 13 fours and a 6. King went for 92, that had 11 fours and 2 sixes. Jamar Hamilton got 57, and Dominic Drakes followed for 13. McKenny Clark so far has 3 for 91, and Naeem Young 2 for 75. Day 2 begins at 10 o'clock this morning. And that's today's morning report. Our next newscast is at 12 midday right here on CBC TV 8, followed by The World at 1 via our radio network of stations 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. It's time now for Morning Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados. Good morning, good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
It's Thursday, April 27th. So good to have you in company. Welcome to another edition of Morning Barbados. I certainly hope you had a good night's rest. For me, I can say for the first time in a long time, I had a good night's rest last night, even though I woke up way too early. I know that happens sometimes. But another school day as we get into the week. It's going to be a short week this week and a short week next week as we look to 2 holidays. We will be telling you all about what's happening all across the island. So again, another packed show for you today as we continue to share all that's happening and celebrate from our national heroes to our workers at large. We are going to be speaking with a number of people to reinforce all that's happening all across the island and why you should get involved. Now, first up, we're going to have the CHTA telling us all about a marketplace. That's right. So they're calling all young people between the ages of 16 and 29 to participate in a national survey. We will tell you much more about that. We continue our relationship with the UWI Faculty of Medicinal Sciences. Who knows, by the end, you just might be ready for a career in healthcare. So we are going to share as they continue their open week. Plus, CITUSAB, they're here to talk about their Labor Day rally and concert, and that is always something major to look forward to on May Day and for May Day celebrations. I know they're doing it big this time around, so we definitely want to share about that with you. Plus, I'm sure you've heard about Beach to the World Season 3 is back and in full force, and the contestants have gone through the rigors of 7 weeks of competition with challenges, and now the semi-finalists have been named. So we are going to share some of those semi-finalists with you. They're going to be on to talk all about how the competition has been, how they are shaping up for the semi-finals and the like. So that's all coming up today on Morning Barbados. So we're encouraging you to stick around and spend a little time with us. We will be here till just around 8 o'clock. But we're going to give you an update of the news as well, just around 7 right here. All right, so 27 minutes now before 7 o'clock. Let's jump right into it and go ahead and introduce the new CEO of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Ryan Ford. He's here to talk to us a little bit about what's happening with the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association's Marketplace, which is happening May 9th to 11th at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center, Caribbean Travel Place Market. Good morning to you, Ryan.
To the rest of Barbados, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. Good to have you with us. And I must start with congratulations. I don't believe we've spoken since you have assumed your new position.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And yes, it has been a while.
All right. Well, wonderful to see you. First of all, tell us all about this CHTA marketplace.
Yeah, so CHTA Marketplace is year 41 that they've been hosting this, and this is the first time that Barbados has been the host. Traditionally, it has been in some of the larger islands up in the north, and it's the real first time that Barbados has been able to be a big mega, we call it fam trip or a site visit, to show what Barbadians are all about, what our culture is about, what our hotels, our restaurants, our attractions, and as I mentioned, the most important, how friendly our people are. And that really and truly promotes the destination and to get a lot of tourists coming in as well as the diaspora.
We saw the governor of the central bank here in Barbados, Dr. Kevin Greenidge, saying in his report yesterday that tourism really has been leading the charge on Barbados's rebound. What part does marketplaces like this, what part does this events like this and conferences and so on like this one, what part do they play in helping us to continue to bring tourists back to the region?
Yeah, so it plays a big part because we have this concept in our tourism world called buyers. Those are companies that come, see what the destination is about, and then they go back and sell to other people. So similar to social media, 3x3 is 9, I'm at 981, and it spreads. They also spread because when someone's looking for a wedding destination, looking for a conference, looking for a family vacation, they're all going to planners and they're all going to what we call buyers. So it's very big for that. And then we also have almost 50 international media houses coming from all over the world, from Spain, from Latin America, also from Africa, North America. So they're going to be speaking about brand Barbados. Of course, our competitors will also be joining us on the trade show floor. However, they're all in Barbados. So no matter what they have to say, they're still going to be surrounded by all of our Barbadian hospitality. And really and truly, it gives us a huge opportunity to showcase our people, our culture, our vibe, all of our infrastructure, and get individuals coming back here for either vacation or business or to explore our festivals.
Absolutely. No, it's being held here for the very first time. What has it taken to be able to pull it off?
It has been a huge undertaking. From before I had come in, BHTA as well as BTMI, they were working together alongside TDC, and that is to make sure that the event is possible, because you go into assisting the media coming in, you're doing plenty stories, you're also doing site visits for all of the infrastructure, you're working for all of the providers, you're working with the funding agency, as I mentioned, TDC, and then you're also working with LESC to make sure that the trade show goes as well as it's supposed to be. But then you also have the opening and the closing. So every week for, I would say, about 3 months, the agencies as well as our supporting agencies, Grantley Adams International, the port, the immigration, also NCC, all of the entities really and truly are pulling a huge weight to make sure that Barbados puts on a great show. And part of that, we've also have some volunteers from the schools, giving them opportunities. And we also have an opportunity to work with our media personnel who have been great the last few weeks to also educate Barbadians about how important it is. So it's a huge drive, and it's a lot of energy that needs to be put in.
All right, so it runs from May 9th to 11th. In addition to bringing people to the island to be able to share about the island, it is at its core bringing people to the island. So what does it mean for people on the ground here in Barbados from an economic standpoint?
Yeah, it means a lot. So everyone always thinks of his hotels, airlines, restaurants, and attractions, but really and truly, we also have all of our team members that are in the operation. We also have, as I mentioned, the buyers that are coming in to sell brand Barbados. That means that if you have vendors that are into a specific trade, let's say you are an audiovisual company, or that you're preparing shirts to be printed for a specific reason, right now it is an example for what they can buy going forward in the future. And as we have more hotels or more villas or more local cultural heritage activity going on the ground, it is really and truly an opportunity to promote, market it to these individuals that will be selling for people to come back. So it's a connectivity across all of our industries. And we do have the opening at the Alara Court, and we have the closing at the Charles Fort at Hilton. So again, that showcases a lot of our heritage in terms of the cultural aspects, our music, our food, our rum, all of these things that are perfect examples of Barbados.
I know events like these really take a lot of effort and connectivity to be able to make them come off. But from your perspective, from a personal perspective, as the new CEO of the BHTA, what are your hopes coming out of this conference?
Well, you said personal and from BHTA standpoint, but it's pretty much both. I want for our visiting tourists, whether they're our competitors or their external media, I want them to really and truly see what Barbados is made of. And the first thing is our beautiful people. And it's not just the visual aspect of our beautiful people, but our personalities. That's the warmth that really brings people back to the island. That's the warmth that connects all of our businesses with people from overseas. And it's the warmth that really highlights and showcases our passion and our culture and our heritage. So I want that is the experience that will come here. And I also want for us Barbadians to just enjoy the moment. Let's show off what Barbados is made of. Let's show how great the culture is, and that is what I'm looking forward to. All of these hard works, tough conversations and discussions and planning and the finances. Now let's just enjoy the experience and really show off what Barbados is made of.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Ryan. And I can't even say it's the start of many early mornings, because I know you're in the industry, so you understand what early mornings mean.
Indeed, indeed.
All right, you have a good one.
You too. Have a safe one and enjoy the long weekend.
Thank you so much. Of course, it doesn't count for us, most certainly not here at Morning Barbados, because we are going to be here with you tomorrow, and we're going to be here on Monday as well, sharing with you as we love to do for the holiday. Coming up next, we have Tara Durant, who is Public Relations Officer with CTUSAB. She's telling us all about the May Day celebration. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration,
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey, so big question. How are you feeling about the rain, though? I don't know. It's been missing for a minute, but I'm happy to have rain back. You know, sometimes we say that, but then do we really mean it? Because then it's raining. It's like, oh boy, it's raining. You know what I mean. It's just not just me. All right, 17 minutes now before 7 o'clock. A special good morning to everybody getting ready for school. If you live close to your school, then you are so lucky. You don't have to get ready too early to head on out. For those of you who have a little commute, then you have to make sure that you leave home on time, because we know how the traffic can get. All right, so we promised we were going to tell you all about the May Day celebrations and what will be coming up. This year will be no different from what we've seen in previous years. I'm sure it will be thoroughly amplified. Tara Durant is Public Relations Officer with the CTUSAB, and she is here this morning to share more about what's happening. Good morning, Tara. Welcome.
Good morning, Tisha, and good morning, Barbados.
Good morning. Good to see you.
And how are you this morning?
I'm doing well, thanks. I said I got some rest. You know, that's always a positive, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. You know how it goes. What about you?
Yes, that is always a good thing. It's a little early for me, but I am just like you, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and happy to tell you about this event today. Representing the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados, aka C2SAB, we're going to have our Labor Day rally and concert May 1st in Golden Square Freedom Park. It promises to be an educational and entertaining event.
All right, wonderful. I understand this time around the theme is Stronger Together, Young and Unionized. And that is always something that's of interest to me. How unions are able or will be able to build and maintain the interests of younger people in these times. So I'm sure that is, you know, at the core what you're working toward, given that it's your theme.
Yes. So this year, the theme is Stronger Together, Young and Unionized. And the Young Workers Committee would have had a big part in planning May Day this year, the Labor Day rally, because we want to encourage more young people to join the union. There is a notion out there that you only need the union when you get into trouble. Yes, when you need representation, your union is there. But the union is also yes, but the union is also there for your professional development, for socialization. The union is also there to help you understand your rights, the laws. So there's so much more to your union than just needing them when you get into trouble. And we want to encourage more young people into the fold. We want to encourage young people to come. So Stronger Together, Young and Unionized. And the tagline is Young Workers, the power is in your hands.
All right.
So we're focusing on the youth. Yeah, so we're focusing on the youth this year. And even on the stage, we will have young workers from our member organizations giving short remarks. We will have a career showcase from our member organizations encouraging the youth. And recently we have BYAC, the Barbados Youth Advanced Corp, on board. They will also have someone speaking and they will be a part of the career showcase because students that go through that program, they're the young workers of tomorrow and we're focusing on the future.
And it's very significant that the rally is taking place at the Golden Square Freedom Park. Very significant even when it comes to workers and their rights here in Barbados.
Yes. The Golden Square Freedom Park will always have a big place in the heart of trade unionists because it would have been the stomping ground of Clement Payne. Agitate but don't violate. So this event has significance in its location, in its theme, in everything. And we also will have entertainment and we also have a jingle. So we have a theme jingle about the Stronger Together, Young and Unionized, and also a C2SAB jingle that were both produced by young people. Remember, again, we're focusing on the youth. So one jingle was produced by 19-year-old Recon Drums. He was actually on Beige to the World. He's a young producer and artist. Another was produced by 20-year-old Ocean Made This Production. And both jingles are sung by a young and upcoming artist, Big Mike. So not only in our addresses, even in our entertainment and our jingles, we are focusing on the youth.
That's why Recon Drums definitely very, very talented. And I must add that he plays all the instruments. Usually he plays all the instruments on whatever he puts together. He's been doing some fantastic work. You're right. I think he even produced a song for Statement for last crop over, or maybe 2 crop overs ago. All right, so let's delve into that entertainment since we're there talking about a bit of the entertainment. And I know the rally part of it is very important, but there's also a concert aspect.
Yes. So yes, the rally part is very important. I just want to mention that our President Edwin O'Neill will be delivering the address. Our General Secretary will be giving the closing remarks. But the main part of the program will be our young workers. Now, in terms of entertainment, we have well-known soca artist Mikey Mercer on board. We have Alison Norville. We have Ruby Tech and Billy Kincaid, who have been known in hip-hop circles for years. Young and upcoming artist Big Mike. And we have DJ Taz on board to keep things flowing and keep things moving. This event is we want you to come out, be educated. We want you to mingle, be entertained. It is not just about education. It is about seeing the career showcases. It is about being entertained. It's about mingling. And we want the young people to come out and really understand the importance of the trade union movement. But I must say, Tisha, although the focus this year is the youth, this is an event for everybody. This is a showcase for the youth. So let's come out and support the youth as they showcase themselves in their speeches, in the career showcases, and in the entertainment.
I want to thank you so much for coming out and sharing with us this morning. And you definitely have made us even more interested in what is to come for the May Day rally. What time do you get started, just so we know?
We get started at 2 p.m. And I neglected to mention we'll also have the Comamere School Steel Orchestra. So we really want to support our young people. So this is going to be an exciting event. It is going to be an event of socialization, like I said, entertainment. My word, edutainment. Well, that's somebody else's word, but I love that word. This is going to be an event for edutainment. So you can come out to be educated, entertained, mingle, and come on the most historic site, the site where the bust of Clement Payne rests, and come out to the Situ Sab Labor Day Rally and Concert, May 1st, kicking off at 2 p.m.
Public Relations Officer of C2SAB, Tara Durant, thank you for sharing. All the best. We definitely will be checking in on Monday. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we're going to tell you all about a national youth survey that's happening soon. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey, just shy of 7 minutes to go before 8 o'clock, before 7 o'clock. I'm not rushing you. All right, so 7.5 minutes to go before 7 o'clock, okay? Let's welcome now Rondell Trim to Morning Barbados, and he's here to tell us all about a national youth survey. It got started a few days ago, I believe around the 24th, and it will run down to October of 2023, October of this year, just around the last day of October, I believe, and it's all about finding out what young people between the ages of 16 and 29 what their needs are, and what's happening with them. So welcome, Rondell. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
All right, so go ahead and tell us all about this national survey and why you think it's needed at this time.
The National Youth Survey is basically a data collection tool for the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment. It's to get the views and perspectives of young people in regards to several socio-economic and socio-cultural themes. These will be like things like education, crime and violence, ownership and living with disabilities. It usually happens every few years, but due to a few notable events such as the COVID-19 pandemic, we weren't able to have it for quite a while. So this survey is particularly important because we haven't been able to have the survey in over 7 years, and several things have changed due to the COVID-19 pandemic and other events that would have occurred during Barbados. So it's very important due to the amount of time that has passed and the fact that the ministry used the information in order to kind of create and draft programs and initiatives that they think would adequately serve young people in Barbados.
All right. In your role as consultant with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment and in working with this survey, what are some of those areas that have changed over this 7-year period that really need to be addressed? I know you mentioned, you know, a lot of things like disability and things like that, but what are some of the major changes that the ministry really wants to hone in on and get more information about?
Well, one thing that has changed quite a bit is in regards to education. The COVID-19 pandemic has really revolutionized how individuals learn and how persons are taught. During the COVID-19 pandemic, persons would have kind of been forced to have to use technology to learn in a space that technology wasn't so deeply integrated in. So persons are still grappling with the fact that school is more technologicalized than it was before, and that's one area that we're focusing on. Crime and violence is also very important. It's always an important topic in regards to the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment, and we would like to gain the youth, I guess, perspective on like what they think about crime and violence, and then from there we usually draft programs and initiatives to assist young people. We currently have a lot of programs in regards to that, such as the Gateways program and the Building Blocks program and the Block program, where persons go onto the blocks and talk to individuals in the area. So those are some of the things that will be found in the survey.
All right, just a few of the things. I know usually when we think of these surveys, it sounds like it will be a lot of very serious things to deal with or to talk about. Will it also cover like ways of entertainment for young people, ways that young people now entertain themselves? Because I think that's very important too. Before time, and I would know because I'm almost a dinosaur. I'm definitely not in the 16 to 29 age group. But, you know, people will go outside and play and so on. These days, not so much. So even that has changed. So in terms of the scope of the survey, you know, I'm hearing a lot of what might seem like a lot of square things, very serious, but are we also going to be looking at some of the softer things that also impact young people's lives?
Yes, please. The survey is very comprehensive and multidimensional. So it's going to address ways in which young people do entertain themselves. As said before, things change quite rapidly during the COVID-19 pandemic. And one of the things was that young people were kind of forced to be inside and be adaptive in regards to how they entertain themselves. And we understand that this hasn't completely reverted at the way that it was previously. And we understand that as a ministry, we have to change the way we bring our programs to young people. And so the survey does reflect this and asks young people their views and their perspectives on how they entertain themselves.
How will the survey be conducted?
At the moment, we have about 30 youth commissioners and youth program consultants in the zones in Barbados and in the constituencies. So you should see persons in this same green shirt or orange shirt just walking around asking young people to complete the survey.
What will be done with this? How will this data be treated? That even coming out of what has happened, you know, people are very, very concerned about data security. Is it anonymous? Will you have to write your name on it? And how will the information be treated? I think people will want to know that.
All the information on the survey is extremely confidential. When persons come and ask you any information that you don't think that you need to give, is not necessary for you to give it. But what the information does is that it's collated by the ministry and is used to shape the programs and the initiatives that the ministry conceptualizes and executes. So it assists in things like decision making and policy making as well. So nobody has to worry about any data leaks or anything of the sort, because all the information is purely based on helping and assisting young people in their holistic development.
All right, I want to thank you so much, Rondell Trim, for sitting in with us this morning, research consultant with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment. And of course, I'm sure you'd like to encourage everybody to make sure they not only look out for those green shirts, but make sure they also look out for correct, for badges and so on, correct? To make sure that the people
Yes.
who are coming to them are accredited to the ministry.
Yes, please, definitely. So everyone that is going to be conducting the survey will have a green or orange shirt, and they are going to have identification with them. So once you are able to spot the identification, we just implore you as young people to complete the survey so that the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment can be able to help you in the future.
All right, a little piece of Barbadian coming out in me now. Are you Roshana's brother?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
yes,
you can't
please.
hide. I didn't want to assume, but say hello.
Everybody
And
says so, but I don't see it. I don't see it.
I absolutely see it. Not only with the name and the initials, dead giveaways, but good to see that you're also doing wonderful work in the area of youth. Wonderful. Good family values. Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Time for us to bring you an update of news, but before that, coming up in the second half of Morning Barbados, the medical services at the Faculty of Medical Services at the University of the West Indies KFIL campus, they're back with us this morning, and we get to meet quite a few of the semi-finalists in Beige to the World Season 3. That is all after we update you on the news.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world. Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados will love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. That's morning,
morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
1.5 minutes after 7 o'clock, news update for you now. The Barbados economy has officially recovered from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Central Bank Governor Dr. Kevin Greenidge made the announcement at a first quarter economic review session, the first as governor. According to Dr. Greenidge, the rebound has been led mainly by the resurgence of the tourism sector, as the island's economy grew by 6.4% for the first quarter of this year. He indicated the figure forms part of 8 consecutive quarters of economic growth.
Indeed, if we were to look at the quarterly numbers in terms of the level of economic output, both real and nominal, you will see that for March 2023, and we compare here 2023 with 2029, which is the year before COVID really began. In terms of real GDP, real economic output, which is the value, not just the volume of goods and services produced, we are virtually on par. If you consider the inflationary effects and price effects and look at the value of those goods and services produced, we're at $3.3 billion for the quarter versus $2.7 billion for the first quarter of 2019. So indeed, the growth has strengthened, the economy has recovered.
Dr. Greenidge adds that the sustained growth in the economy has positively impacted the labor market. He says unemployment has plummeted from the 17% experienced at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and is now down to 7%.
That 7.2 unemployment rate is the lowest we've had in history on record. Well, the lowest back to 2007, third quarter. That is a significant recovery in unemployment, which indicates that the labor market is quite buoyant at the moment. Indeed, if you look at another indicator, which is how long it takes a person to find a job. At the height of the COVID period, it took most of persons took between 3 months and a year. If I look at the number, over 8,000 people would take almost a year to find a job, and even some took more than a year. If you compare it to where we are now, Most jobs are found within less than 3 months.
Barbados remains under a water prohibition notice despite recent heavy rainfall in some areas. Officials of the Barbados Water Authority explained why during a media briefing and site visit at the Bowmanston pumping station yesterday. CBC's Sharika Griffith reports.
In recent days, some parts of Barbados have been underwater due to heavy rain. This may have created some confusion, coming the same week as the introduction of a water prohibition as a result of current drought conditions. But as Manager of Water Resources and Environmental Management with the Barbados Water Authority, Alex Eiffel explains, the main source of water on the island takes on average 3 months to reach the aquifers.
Rain falling now will take a protracted time on average to reach the wells that we can use it. So therefore, this rain that you see in the past few days, although it will impact places like Bowmanston immediately, or the West Coast wells and wells like the Bell, that will take a few months to get to the Bell.
According to Mr. Eiffel, what Barbados is currently experiencing is an agricultural drought, where the amount of rain falling over a period is not enough to support a specific crop. By introducing the water prohibition, officials are hoping to avoid getting to the stage of a hydrological drought or one which impacts water resources. Signs of this include falling water levels, increasing salinity, and ponds drying up. However, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's weather forecast for the coming months suggests a significant probability this could occur.
They are predicting April, May, June, 30% chance of El Nino. May, June, July, a 62% chance of El Nino. El Nino is usually associated with low rainfall, high temperatures, and relatively increased wind speeds. All these factors reduce the amount of available rainfall. So to make sure that we are being cautious, we use those parameters in connection with our monitoring to make sure that the public get the message. There's a high likelihood that we might go into hydrogeological drought that will impact the water resources and have socio-economic impact.
BWA teams have stepped up their monitoring from monthly to weekly as they keep a close eye on the situation. Members of the media had a chance to venture close to 300 feet below the surface into one of the wells at Bowmanston to get a first-hand look at the water level. Officials say while the country has not reached the stage of routine shutoffs, it's important to conserve water now to ensure we can make it through the dry periods ahead. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thank you, Sharika. That report brings this update to an end. Our next newscast is Newsday at 12 noon today, followed by The World at 1 on a radio network of stations, 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7. Morning Barbados continues after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, mctv has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on mctv. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call mctv today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let mctv get you back in the game.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning and welcome back. Good to have you with us. So over the past few days, we've been getting a rare glimpse into what happens behind the scenes in the UWI Faculty of Medical Sciences. And this morning is no different. We continue with two doctors joining us, Dr. Maisha Emmanuel, Clinical Medical Studies, and Dr. Margaret O'Shea, Clinical Surgical Studies of the UWI Faculty of Medical Services. Tell us more about the Open Week activities. Here they are. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for sharing with us. All right, so for the last few days, we have had a glimpse, as I said, into everything that's happening behind the scenes. We've been able to talk about the various areas of study and what's being done. And it's great to hear from the doctors who are teaching, but I know for both of you, it's important to note that you also play frontline roles in the delivery of healthcare service. So if we can start with Dr. Emmanuel, tell us, what it is like to be able to play such a frontline role and still to deliver service by way of teaching. It must be quite challenging.
Well, yes, indeed. But I think having done it for many years, it gets easier, I would say. I joined the faculty back in 2005. I'm a lecturer in psychiatry. And so my role is to both teach undergraduate and postgraduate students, medical students and doctors who are training to be psychiatrists, as well as a consultant at QEH, because as you would imagine, in teaching, we need to have the hands-on experience. So that's an integral part of my role is as a lecturer. So we provide both service to the patients at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And in doing that, we teach the undergraduates as well as the doctors who are training to become psychiatrists, all at the same time.
Dr. O'Shea, same question for you. Just to set the tone, the balance, I imagine it's a delicate balance to be able to deliver both at your best.
Yes, it is difficult. We always have to put the patient at the center. So we're clinical lecturers. So after these students have finished the first 3 years on campus, they come to the hospital. And then we have to, now the patient is the focus. And I think it's a little bit of a transition for the students at that point as well, because, they've been the focus on campus, but now we come to the hospital and we see what they're really learning and training to be doctors, and they're then interacting with patients. So we sort of teach on ward rounds, we teach in the operating theater, because I'm a surgeon. We teach in the clinics, but always keeping it patient-centered. So it's a learning experience for them to see then, what they, the sciences that they've been learning, to put it sort of into practice and see it in a living way. And then, of course, there's the art then of being able to interact with patients, which they may not have had before, how to speak to people, ask questions, get feedback. So this is all, yes, as you mentioned, it is a balance. So when we can focus on teaching about the different pathologies that we see, we do, but always making sure that the patient care, as Maisha said, Dr. Emmanuel, we are also delivering a service at the hospital in terms of patient care, and that is the priority in the clinical aspects of the teaching.
Staying with you for a little bit, Dr. O'Shea, how would you say clinical surgical studies differ from the rest of the program that students must go through, or student doctors must go through on their path to becoming doctors?
Well, it's a lot, very hands-on. So, obviously still clinical is examining patients, but then we go the extra mile actually operating on them. So there will be the rotations to the operating theater that would be different to what the other specialties are doing. So then you're interacting with a whole new sort of it's a different environment completely in the operating theater. Patients, you have to be very mindful about sterility, about your behavior in the operating theater. And, you have the anesthetist, you have scrub nurses, you have, there's anesthetic aides. So it's like a little microcosm within the hospital. And again, still the patient is the focus. What we're doing is the focus, and they get to see a lot, observe a lot. They see anatomy live, when we're doing these surgeries. So I would say it's exciting, especially for those who have interest in surgery, a surgical career. But it's very hands-on and it's very technical.
Speaking of hands-on and technical, I know that yours is one of those professions that you have to continuously train and upskill and keep ahead of what's happening across the world. Such is the case specifically. These days we're hearing a whole lot more about mental illness. People are most certainly approaching it in a different way. Have you found, Dr. Emmanuel, that because of what's happening generally in terms of how people view things like mental illness and things of that nature, there's far greater interest maybe from your students on specific areas?
Sure. I mean, I think one of the good things, if you can think of it that way, that COVID did was to bring to the fore the importance of recognizing when you're struggling psychologically and make it less stigmatized, because now you have a situation where the world is experiencing what anxiety feels like, what isolation feels like, what depression may feel like. And so more and more people have been coming forward to say, I am struggling, this is what is happening, can you help me? Whereas pre-pandemic, people were still hesitant because, you know, the typical thing is, you know, only quote unquote mad people go to psychiatrists, which is obviously completely incorrect. So I think one positive thing coming out of COVID was that, and hence why you would see our clinics in the public sector as well as privately have been overwhelmed in terms of the numbers of people who have been presenting for care. Most of it, as it has always been, is related to anxiety symptoms and feeling low in mood. But sometimes it's just, you know, coping strategies. How do I manage now that all of these things have been happening? And so we've been happy to be able to provide that extra care, that extra service to patients. And so it's been a good thing from that point of view.
What would you say, Dr. O'Shea, is one of those things that brings students to the faculty? I know in your interviews and in your interactions with students, there must be a plethora of answers as to why students are interested in doing medicine, and then later on why they want to specialize in certain areas. But what are some of the most common reasons?
Well, I like to think that they all want to help someone, and that somewhere in them is that sort of giving nature and seeing someone not doing well and wanting to make them better. I think I hear that a lot. You know, when they finish internship, you hear them that it was hard, but it was good to see the patient recover. So doctors in their nature should be people, and we find that who want to make a situation better. And the obviously way we do it then is if there's an illness, you can improve the patients and getting them back in a healthy state. There may be some monetary gains, but that is not encouraged. And obviously, there may be within families, they may have had a doctor in their family, they saw them and they admired them, and then they wanted to be that. But we have people who don't have any doctors in their family, and also sometimes they may watch a lot of TV, so they see the life. I'm sure that Grey's Anatomy encouraged a lot of getting into surgery and into because a lot of females were very dominant on that show, and I have heard that there are people who said, you know, watching it encouraged them. But I think because it's so difficult, there's something that has to keep you going, and it has to be that a nature and that genetic gene that makes you want to help make someone else better. As for the different specialties, as you go through, you find something that you like most, and because you're exposed to everything in the clinical field, and all the postgraduate programs, or you are exposed to any undergraduate. And most people, I mean, some people come in and say from they're in high school, they want to be a surgeon, they want to be a psychiatrist, what have you. But a lot of the times, it's actually when you're in the undergrad program, you've been in one area, did a rotation in psychiatry, internal medicine, pediatrics, you fell in love with the kids then, that you decide what you want to do then in postgrad. Or maybe you want to be a family doctor. You don't want to be a hospital doctor at all, and you like that time where you're in the polyclinics and dealing with, you know, patients and their families and having a closer relation to all aspects of their care. So something sparks you as you're training, but I think by nature you want to be a giving and helpful person.
All right, wonderful. Dr. O'Shea, I hope you know that I'm walking away from this interview thinking that Grey's Anatomy inspired this generation of doctors.
Point of view.
Not all things.
All right, Dr. Emmanuel, talk to us about some of the programs that are available both at the undergrad and postgrad level when it comes to medical studies.
Right. So oftentimes we think of it as medical sciences and surgical sciences, but at the undergraduate level, everybody does everything. So you all of us, so Dr. O'Shea is a surgeon, I'm a psychiatrist, but at the undergrad level, we had to do the same 5 years of training. In the fourth year, there are about 13 clerkships, and a clerkship would be anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks. And that's where you get your exposure to psychiatry, internal medicine, ophthalmology, ENT, all the subspecialties, okay? When students get into the fifth year, then you have the major clerkships, what we call major from the point of view of the length of the clerkships. They now become 9 weeks, and that's where you do internal medicine again, general surgery, child health and obstetrics and gynecology, A&E, and family medicine. There are elective periods in both years where the student can choose to do what they want. But other than those elective periods in the fourth and the fifth year, everything else is mandatory. So medical students, unfortunately, do not get to choose too much in terms of which clerkship they're going to do, because everybody has to do everything. It is after the 5-year period, so you graduate after 5 years. You then do a 1-year internship that allows you to practice under supervision. So by definition, that means you are in the hospital setting and there is a consultant and a team that looks over your shoulder basically to ensure that you're doing the correct thing. That happens for 1 year. And then you go into postgraduate training. Most postgraduate training would be about 4 years, but there's some programs like ophthalmology that's much longer. I think ophthalmology can go up to 7 years of training. But on average, it's about 4 years of postgraduate. And at UWI in Cave Hill, we have about 10 postgraduate programs. Of course, internal medicine, family medicine, psychiatry, ophthalmology, general surgery, A&E, 10 of them all together. If you want to do other postgraduate training, you will have to go either to Jamaica or to St. Augustine if you want to stay within the UWI system. Outside of that, you can go anywhere in the world where you can apply and do their entrance exams and so on. So it's quite a comprehensive program. A lot of times people balk at the time, because remember I said it's 5 years for the MBBS, which is the basic medical degree that everybody has to do, then a year of internship, and then between 4 and 7 years for postgrad, and then whatever else you may want to do. So it's quite a lot of time. But I say all the time, I say, well, the time has to pass anyway. So if it's going and you're doing something that you really enjoy, then why not, right? And remember, once you finish medical school, you would be working. So it's not like you're going to be a student for the next 11 years or something like that. After the first 5 years, you are employed. So it's a work and study. And so I think, if that's your dream, if that's, as Dr. O'Shea was saying, that's something you've always wanted to do, then by all means, go right ahead and apply. And we will be very happy to have you at Cave Hill or any of the UWI campuses. And we have campuses in Trinidad, Jamaica, and Bahamas. Bahamas has the final 2 years, the 4th and 5th year part of the program.
Wow, you make it sound so exciting. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of applicants. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of applicants coming through this time around. Now, Dr. O'Shea, in the area of surgeries, I know when you look internationally, you see so many specialties. Some of them are available here in Barbados, but talk to us how the surgical studies go based on what's available through the medical faculty here in Barbados or the other campuses to be able to specialize in certain areas as relates to surgery.
Yes, for surgery, we do offer a general surgery postgraduate program at Cave Hill. also orthopedics. And I guess ophthalmology is kind of rides both fields. So we do have ophthalmology as well. If you want to do but we do have services outside of those areas. We have neurosurgery, plastic surgery, pediatric surgery, urology. So if you want to, when we sort of bring you in to train, all of our residents have to pass through all of these specialties and cardiothoracic surgery, that is heart and chest, I forgot to mention. So you do rotate through all of them at the hospital. ENT surgery isn't really in our department, but ear, nose, and throat, we do encourage the residents to go and take part in those type of operations. But as if you want to do, so we do the first 2 years here where you rotate through all of these specialties, and then you do your part 1 exam. If you want to then proceed to do something other than general surgery or orthopedics, you will have to go to the other campuses, Mona in Jamaica or St. Augustine in Trinidad, and they offer the urology, neurosurgery, cardiothoracic, pediatric surgery that our trainees may want to specialize in. So we do have a wide, and we also started a plastic surgery program at Mona. So there is a wide range of specialties that our residents can engage in at the University of West Indies. They can get the basic training here for the part 1, and we have had residents then move on then to do further specialization in neurosurgery, urology, cardiothoracic surgery at the other campuses within the West Indies. Our residents are well trained in DM in surgery. Our DM is very well respected internationally. All of our residents can get fellowship training and subspecialty training elsewhere internationally, Canada, the US, as far as Australia where I went, and in Europe, so and China. So I mean, once you have this, so you may want to go then further do hepatobiliary surgery, like or vascular surgery, renal transplant. So the DM in University of West Indies can take you internationally to do even further subspecialties if you want. So it's a well-respected program, and we're very proud of it.
All right, final words from both of you ladies. What would you say to a student who might be on the fence, Dr. Emmanuel, about signing up, thinking, I really want to become a doctor, but I'm not so sure. It seems like 20 years down the line, I still will be studying.
I think the main thing is that you have to be honest with yourself about why you're doing this. Because sometimes if you think, well, I'm going to come in and I'm going to make a lot of money and it's going to be easy, no, it is not. On both counts. You have to want to do it. Going back to what Dr. O'Shea said earlier about having a desire to help, and it cannot be based on what pressures you may feel from your whomever, whether it's parents or expectations or what people say or whatever. It has to be something that's innate, that you have decided, you know what, this is something I would like to do. And we always encourage people. I mean, well, sometimes students can come through and volunteer, for example, at the pediatric ward to see what it is like, or you can shadow somebody and, just to get a feel of what the day in the life of a doctor is really going to be like, and so that you can make a decision. But I would encourage anyone who genuinely has an interest to go right ahead and apply, and come to our open days and like this week and come and hear what it's all about as well.
Dr. O'Shea, Dr. Emmanuel just said that you are open to the media coming through and following you for a day in the life of a doctor. So we look forward to that.
By all means,
from you for future students.
By all means, I hope you're not squeamish with blood. Once you don't have that problem, you're good. I would add to decide what you want in life and then go for it. But build that support network. You cannot do it alone. You need support for those long nights. Somebody to bring you something to eat, pay a bill for you when you can't leave the hospital. So you need that support network. So if you're embarking on it, work on that from now. Build those friendships.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Margaret O'Shea and Dr. Maisha Emmanuel, for sharing with us. I'm sure you're going to have packed houses for the open days over at the Faculty of Medical Sciences. Have a wonderful day, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And you. Thank you.
All right. Bumper sign-ups, and we're going to be responsible for it, Morning Barbados. I guarantee. Hey, it's 29 minutes after 7 o'clock. When we come back, we get to meet some of the semi-finalists in Beach to the World Season 3. Talent off the chain. That's all next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing
morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey, it's 7:30. I was lucky in primary school. I just had to walk to school. It was close by. But in secondary school, then I had to catch a bus. That's always overrated. People want to catch a bus when they don't have to, right? Anyways, a special good morning to those of you who are driving public transport. I know it's always a challenge for you, and you often get some licks, you know, but it is a hard job. Now, if you're coming all the way from St. Lucie, I know that can be a challenge too. I know someone who's doing that. Natalie Griffith, floor member of the St. Lucie DEO. Luckily, she didn't have to commute here this morning. She is online. Good morning to you, Natalie.
Good morning.
All right, good to have you with us, and it's always to reach out to someone always good to reach out to someone in St. Lucie and find out what's happening. So you have a big community wellness hike. When I hear the word hike, I'm always interested. So tell us more.
All right, so the St. Lucie DEO decided that we would hold a community wellness hike tomorrow, April 28th. We are starting at River Bay and we're going to Cove Bay and back. The hike is to basically bring our community together and to also encourage wellness and physical activity among the community members of St. Lucie.
We sign up.
Pardon me?
When does it get started? What time? And how can we sign up? How can we be a part of it?
It starts at 6:30 a.m. There's no sign up required. Once you decide that you want to go, you can just show up River Bay and join our group.
All right, for River Bay, for people like me who are not sure how to get, I'm kidding. I know how to get to River Bay. You know, I'm just being bad all the time. Yeah, as a district emergency organization, how important is it for you to continue to do activities like these to kind of bring the community on board and continue to share the importance of health and wellness, even as we look toward taking care of our nation, which is generally what you do in times of crisis?
Yes, so we play a major role both when there are natural disasters and things like fires, persons ill. So we are always there for the persons in the community. So not only when things happen, but we also want to encourage persons to be healthy. So not only do we want to encourage you to be prepared for the upcoming hurricane season, but we want you to be well overall in general. So coming out and getting a little walk or just coming to our meetings and getting some information about first aid or how to be prepared. That's basically our role and what we try to encourage within our community. So we just want to put ourselves out there so the persons in St. Lucie can know who we are and what exactly we do.
All right, talk about the route that you're going to take for the hike.
Well, our route will start at River Bay, and we may make some changes due to the weather that we are having. So by this after our route down pat, but most of it will be on, I don't want to say on land. We're not gonna try to track any gullies because we want to make everybody feel included. We don't want to go through the gully or over rocks and stuff like that where older persons may not be able to get. So we want to make everybody included. So we're going to make the hike as easy as possible.
All right, so that's
And
6:30 tomorrow. 6:30
Yes.
tomorrow, and you just have to turn up at River Bay. Listen, be there to leave at 6:30 though. Don't be showing up at 6:30, right? So we're going River Bay to Cove Bay. I'm sure there will be lots to see, even though you're not trekking through the gully and maybe some of the less traversed areas of St. Lucie. I'm sure it will be equally as engaging, just being able to see the specific areas. Nice little something to do with your family. And like you said, also good for exercise.
Yes, please. And along the way, we'll share some information about the DEO and try to get our community members informed about hurricane preparedness for the upcoming season.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Natalie Griffith. You have to get some rest so you can get up early in the morning. It's not a short distance from River Bay to Cove Bay. All right, you have a good one.
You too.
All right, make sure you head on out for that. The St. Lucie DEO Community Wellness Hike coming off tomorrow, April 28th, 6:30 a.m. So make sure you get there, River Bay, bright and early to be a part of it. Up next, some of the crew from Beach to the World. It will be good to see them outside of that environment. That's all next. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, so I promise you I have had the most exciting time over the last 2 weeks working with Beach to the World as the television producer, working with some very competent and able people, but also with some very, very talented youth. This year, Beach to the World Season 3 is celebrating young people as they stay in step with what's happening across the globe in celebrating youth for 2023. So we're now at the phase where they've gone through 7 rigorous weeks of training and development and workshops, and of course challenges. They have to do challenges every single week, and they range in age from 9 all the way up to mid-20s. So it really has been an exciting time for me, but for those people who are participating, their view is totally different. We're going to get to know a few of them this morning. So let's invite Imari Brown and Cindy Marshall, also known as Cindy Celeste, to come on in and join us. They're on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's really great to see those Beach to the World shirts. I should have worn mine. All right, so Cindy, Cindy, let me start with you. What has it been like for you going through the paces with Beach to the World Season 3? You are one of these contestants who has been top of the table. You've come in the top 3 on every major challenge.
As a poet, it has been a wild, wild ride. I think I've been able to explore my range a lot more with the nature of the challenges, because they've been musical genre challenges, and a lot of the time I don't really work with music very often, but it was such a fun challenge to get to try all these different things and explore different sides of my own art form. It's been a ride.
All right, that's wonderful. I know for you, it really is a challenge to get people to see spoken word in particular in a different way. So, what has that been like for you? You also write a lot of your work. So, from week to week, getting those challenges together, I know it's a daily challenge for you.
Yeah, so the writing every week, I'm writing in genres that I'm not really necessarily comfortable in because I haven't really explored a lot of them before. Oh my goodness. I don't even know how to begin to express how much I've had to write in the last 7 weeks. 7? It feels like such a long time. It feels like more than 7 weeks. But like I said, it's been a really welcome challenge, and I think that this has given me an opportunity to do that thing that I came into the competition to do, which is to show the range of spoken word, and all the different things that it can do, and show myself all the different things that.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I know that you also did very well in the workshops. So, talk to me about how they have changed your view of entertainment generally and life specifically.
I am so thankful for the workshop segments and sessions, particularly because I find that throughout doing poetry for I've been doing poetry for a while now, and I've also been doing poetry full time. Like, this is how I make a living. And I found that I had to stumble through and kind of fail forward and learn a lot of the things that were covered in the workshop. So I was absolutely grateful for things like the workshop on taxes and also getting to expand on and enhance how I tell the story of my art form, because like usually as a poet I get what mic do you want, and I don't get really to explore like lighting and besides maybe with NIFCA I don't get to explore like lighting and graphics behind it. So the workshops have allowed me to get into the minutia of those things and really understand them, and in some ways have also just affirmed some of the stuff that I've had to fail forward and learn, which is really enriching for me and fulfilling for me.
And you also got an opportunity to implement what you were learning at the same time, in that each week in preparing for your presentations and working with your mentors and the other officials, then of course you had to lend your input. So having that knowledge would have helped to influence how much you were able to contribute to your presentations, yes?
Yes, absolutely. We've had the two mastering the stage workshops have been, I feel like they're a life hack. Like before I was very afraid of the entire stage. I used to be the type of poet that would stand with a mic stand and a microphone in the one spot for the whole performance, and the workshops really kind of broke me out of my shell and allowed me to explore and gain more confidence in that exploration of the whole stage.
All right. So Imari was having a few technical challenges. Let me see if he is there now. Imari, say something.
My
Hi, good
teammate.
morning.
All right, there he is. at 7:42 with some sunglasses on.
Yes, please.
Now, I also worked with Beige to the World in season 2, and you auditioned in season 2, and you were exceptional then as well, but that wasn't the right time. At that time, it wasn't that your audition wasn't good, it was that your audition was 8 minutes long. So you kind of had to try to appreciate. I haven't forgotten appreciate at that time, and you weren't able to, present yourself in the way that you wanted to. So how, coming out of that disappointment in season 2, did you prepare yourself for the audition in season 3?
Yes, I have, most definitely. As you would have said, I had an 8 minute long track, and last minute when we were there, they were saying, "Oh, it was supposed to be like 2 or 3 minutes." So we were trying to rush and like cut it down. So that kind of set us, like not set us up, but like kind of set off the mood a little bit. So now going into season 3, I'm more prepared.
You are one of these artists that a lot of people have seen. They've seen that a lot of people have said they've seen tremendous growth in you. And we've seen that with the point structure, where early in the competition, you weren't necessarily doing so well, but as the competition has gone on, Imari is one to watch. What do you attribute to this change and this growth?
I feel like if I was having an open mind and keeping in mind that there's also always room for improvement and to, do some research, a lot of research, and like take notes as to, okay, this is how to perform on stage, this is how to hold the mic and stuff. So yeah.
How does it feel to make it to the next level? You're now a semi-finalist, but I know in the front of your mind, it has to be that 5 people are going home at the end of the semi-finals. So how are you prepping for that?
I'm doing a lot of rehearsals at home. So while everyone else is sleeping, I'll be up doing a lot of rehearsals. The fact that 3 persons are going to be going home is kind of hurtful. Not kind of, it is hurtful because the last 3 persons that didn't make it to the semifinals, we all have this bond, so we're all like a family. So it's really hurtful to say goodbye to them. We still keep in contact, but it was still hurtful.
All right. Well, thank you. I will see you at rehearsals.
Yes,
All right. And same to you, Cindy. Congratulations. Usually I'm kind of mulling around behind the scenes, up and down, up and down, up and down, and we don't necessarily get to interact at this level. So just know that, I am always rooting for you guys, and I'm very, very proud that I could be a part of this process. You definitely are the ones who worked really hard and stuck it out and deserve to be here. So congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
All right, and I also have a few young people with me here on the set. So let me say good morning and welcome to young Golden Girl.
Good morning.
Good morning, Golden Girl. Of course, her name is Rashida Grant, but stage name Golden Girl. And then we have Kaimani Devonish, who is the showman. Good morning. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Rashida is playing a little shy. I know you're not shy at all. So you go to school at Christchurch Girls' School. What has it been like since you've been on Beach to the World? Are people constantly meeting you saying, are you Golden Girl? You look familiar. Or is it pretty much the same? Not sure?
A bit of same.
A bit of the same? So nobody at school is saying, I've seen you on Beach to the World?
A lot of people.
So not the same.
No.
Are you like the attention or not so much?
I love attention.
I know. All right, what about you, Kaimani? You're one of these artists who is just consistent. The judges say that all the time. They can expect a stellar performance from you every single week. You're the guy with the golden voice. So tell me about how you've been received at home, at school.
Well, at school, a lot of people come to me. I think the other day I was in Sheraton, and 3 people come to me and was like, you was the boy Mr. Showman has the Beach to the World? I'm like, yes, that's me. It was like, I wrote in for you. I was like, thank you.
All right. How do you select from week to week? I know that you get to work with your mentors and stuff like that, but how do you go about selecting which songs, so the people who are viewing know which songs you're going to perform, Kaimani?
For me, it's very easy because I choose songs that I'm comfortable with. So I just go look for songs and learn them.
What about you, Rashida? It must be difficult. You're still going to school every day to be able to learn all these songs. And I know Beach to the World is a very, very strict and very, very hectic schedule. You guys have rehearsals and workshops almost every single day. So how have you been able to learn those songs and still do your schoolwork and stuff like that? Has it been hard?
Not really.
Yeah, you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would you say to somebody who wants to enter Beach to the World maybe next time?
I would say go ahead and I'm rooting for you.
All right. Do you have a favorite song that you would have performed throughout the season so far?
Yes.
What's that?
The boat ride.
Is that to say that your favorite genre is soca?
Yes.
And I know you had a good time with the boat ride. I saw you going down. There you are, going down with the boat ride. So I know you had a good time. And your mentor is Natalie. What has it been like working with Auntie Natalie?
Amazing. She's the best auntie.
Oh, that's sweet. What about you, Kaimani?
It's very easy to work with Nikita. She also told me that she don't have to do much with me because I know what I want to do.
Yeah, I know that you are definitely a showman. I wouldn't choose another name for you if there was an opportunity. And I know that you have tremendous support, as all of you do, but your mom, you know, she turns up with a group and they turn up every week. So talk to me about that relationship with your mom. I would imagine that's what keeps you going.
It's a good relationship. When she just came from having surgery, and she was to be there, because if she wasn't there, I probably wouldn't do as good as I did. So yeah, I thank you for being there.
I remember at your audition, because you auditioned at the Chesterfield Brewster Center. Ironically, both of you auditioned at that center. But I remember for you specifically, Kaimani, I remember thinking, he is so shy. Boy, was I wrong. So has the beige stage brought out more of the bold side of Kaimani, or was it always there just waiting for you to be able to showcase it?
It was always waiting. It was always waiting.
All right, so no school today because you're wearing the beige shirt. No school today? All right, how are you prepping for semifinals?
I'm actually ready to do it. So just looking forward to Monday.
Good stuff. When they called out your name, Rashida, what were you thinking?
I was so happy. I was about to go tell my mother that I want everything. I want ice cream, cupcakes, you name it.
Mother, did you hear that? Mother is here as well.
Yes.
And like I said, you know, you guys enjoyed tremendous support from the parents as well. So congratulations to you two, and congratulations to the parents for doing such a wonderful job with all of you. Congrats, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Hey, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we get to meet some other semi-finalists in Beige to the World Season 3, Kaimani, the showman, and of course, our little golden girl, Rashida. They're going to step aside as we welcome Kyrique and Shaquan. They are next. Stay with me.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.tv, and together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker,
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So I know you all have your favorites when it comes to Beige to the World, and that's why we're introducing you to a few. So you had 4 so far, 2 more are here. Now these guys, all season we've been hearing the judges telling them, you have to bring the sexy, and they do that every single week. Tisha, you're so wrong for that. Kyrique Aline and Shaquan Smith are up early to join in the fun. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
All right, good to have you with us. All right, so because I've been working behind the scenes, I feel like I know everything about the competition and what has been happening. I'm going to start with you, Kyrie. Now, you also auditioned, made it into the competition. We're doing exceptionally well in season 2. And then, you know, because of all that was happening with COVID, you had a scare in that area and you had to step back. What was that like for you?
Well, for entertainment being a passion of mine and a safe space of mine, at first I was trying to understand it. Probably cried most of the days before coming back out, but then I just looked at it as it's a minor setback for a major comeback, and that's why I came into season 3 this year.
Yeah, I mean, even outside of that, because Beige to the World is an initiative of the Community Development Department, and there's tremendous support. So we continually look at the participants and see how we can work with you and grow with you. And I know we brought you back for the final as well.
And it really made me feel appreciated by the entire production team, being able to have a shot like that. Being a guest performer on the final stage, I really enjoyed that.
You really knocked it out of the ballpark. And then when you came for that audition, now this is Shakwa, no, that's Karik. I almost mixed you up. How did I do that? Okay, now for your audition, you came prepared. You were dressed to the nines. I remember you auditioned at the Valley Resort Center in St. George. And you know, it was measured, it was calculating, it was all Karik. Yes? How did you feel after that?
I felt like I came and did what I had to do. I came to showcase that I am not only keeping this talent to myself, but able to share that with persons. And I want to continue throughout this process and in my future to do such.
Good stuff. And then coming into the competition, you're one of those people who's been out front and going hard, just performing really, really well each week. That must be quite challenging to really live up to all of the expectation. I mean, before you even hit the stage, the packed audiences are going crazy for you.
I would say that if in another past Kyrie, it would have been more nerve-wracking. But with my support system, they continue to keep me grounded, keep me calm, and I also keep myself calm within times, knowing to just trust the process and being able to carry out what needs to be carried out and not necessarily keep my mind on how much persons are out there looking for good stuff.
That's good stuff. Now, Shaquan, you're one of these people who, when we saw you auditioned in St. John, and we saw you, and you sang to the roof. Do you remember that? You looked at the roof for the entire audition. What were you thinking?
Well, first of all, I was more than nervous, especially through the fact the judges were right in front of me. But I was just trying to remember the words first and just sing the song.
So you were looking at the roof and thinking, Shaquan, remember the words, remember the words.
I was really trying mostly not to focus on the judges. It just so happened that I ended up looking into the ceiling.
Did you expect the response that you've gotten to your amazing talent at Beige to the World, both from the judges, from the personnel who are working along with Beige to the World, and the general audiences who come out to support and view the shows every week? I think one of the things that the judges have continually said to you is they don't think that you grasp how talented you truly are. So did you, coming into the competition, realize how much talent you have, sheer talent?
Well, I always knew that I could sing. The whole reason why I joined the competition is to help me break out of my shell. So this is actually my first time doing anything like this. And well, how to put it? As I say, it's my first time. So getting the remarks now is okay, but I'm also developing and learning as I go. So when I hear that I sing good and I sound good, I'm like, okay, cool. But I'm now discovering this for myself also. So it is shocking and surprising, but to me it's still expected.
Do you have a favorite genre? I know that soca really knocked it out of the ballpark for you, but you know, you had a good run in many genres of the challenges.
Soca was nice, soca was exciting, but my genre is R&B.
What about you, Kyrie?
I would say my genre will also be R&B, but I'm getting more accustomed to reggae now as well.
All right, how did you guys feel when you found out that you'd made it into the semis? I'm sure it wasn't a big surprise.
Not really.
I felt humble. I felt greatly appreciative of the moment, being able to see that there are persons that know that we have potential and continuously looking forward to see what is the next move that we do and how much we will grow, because it is a developmental program along with the competition. So being able to see that aspect go throughout the entire competition and the entire program is comforting.
All right, wonderful. It's good to share with you guys. Like I said, I'm often behind the scenes, and I see you in passing, and I say, good job, and you know, but I'm just going on. Always good to kind of sit down with you. So Beige to the World semifinals coming up May 1st over at Dover Playing Field. Starts at 7 o'clock. You don't have to rush to get there early like all the schools. All the schools were very, very, very packed to capacity as everybody came out to support and see these young, amazing performers. We're asking you to come out and encourage them and, of course, share with them in the pleasure of just being wonderful performers. 5 people go home after the semifinals. I know that must be a lot of a big burden to carry on their shoulders, but they are up to the challenge. So make sure you come on out and support them. Kyrique, Aline, Shaquan Smith, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing with us. Thanks so much as well to Cindy Celeste, Imari. Thanks very much to Kaimani Devonish, and of course to our little showgirl. All right, that's it from us for today. Tomorrow, we'll be here at 6:30 with another edition of Morning Barbados. We're going to chat with a young musician from England who is the son of a Barbadian parents and has written a new song called Heroes. So just in time for that, the Parish Independence Committees have a number of events coming up to celebrate National Heroes Day. And we're going to talk to you about that too. Plus, St. Paul's annual fiesta is on tomorrow, and we'll be there. You'll find out exactly how. Remember today to wear your smiles and come on back as we have a special edition tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.